once. Clap your hands once. At the end of this day, you're going to have an amazing day. Amazing day. Today, we're going to talk about greatness. Can you say the word greatness?
Greatness.
You know, I just woke up this morning and I was so grateful. Grateful that this is the first Monday in November. This month is a month in which we are grateful for the things that are provided in our life. Is that right? I think back to when I was your age and actually before you. We have any 12-year-olds? Yeah, we got some 12-year-olds, okay? I was 12 years old. 12 years old, living here in Sacramento, in Carmichael. And I was playing the game that I love the most. The game that is a part of me. It's called baseball. Baseball. And I was on a team that ended up being the only championship team I ever played for. But you know what was more important than anything else? Actually, it's kind of funny. Later on, I married, have 5 children. Is that cool? Yeah, right? I'm 5'6". How tall? Our 2 boys are 6'4", 250 pounds. I married up, yeah. And so anyway, through that whole process, all those things, all the way back there, I look at the only team that I ever played on that was a championship team. And I got a trophy that's this big. I got 2 trophies in my life. 2. One for that championship team and one for doing a speech contest for a Rotary Club and winning it. I still have those 2 trophies. Our 5 children have hundreds of trophies each for just signing up. They're in our garage. They don't mean it. But that trophy, that championship trophy meant more than just the wood and the statue that was on it. It's the relationship with those young men that I played with at 12 years old. 12 years old. I remember that year, the head coach of that team was a little league, and he asked my dad to be the coach, to be his assistant coach. And the reason he did that was because if my dad was the assistant coach, he didn't have to draft me. He didn't have to draft me. He was afraid that if it came to the draft, that he wouldn't get it. So I got to be on that team because my dad was the assistant coach, which was kind of a cool thing. How many of you played Little League and youth softball, fast pitch, any of those guys, basketball, swim, right? Cheerleader. We got some cheerleaders here. I have a story about cheerleaders. I'll tell you that later on. Okay, and so there's a lot of politics that go on. Is that right? And so he got me on that team with all my friends, and it was a great team. And at the end of the season, you see, I had never been an all-star before, ever. I had played well enough to be an all-star, but generally the all-stars come from the coaches and the people that are running the league. That's where the all-stars come. Is that right? I see you shaking your head, Chicago. You understand what I'm talking about, right? We deserve to be an all-star, but that coach's kid got picked, right? Well, this year we're on a championship team with my buddies, my friends, the closest guys that I had in my life at that time. I should have been an all-star. And I remember my dad and Mr. Becker, the manager, coming to me, and they said, "Tony, you're good enough to be an all-star. As a matter of fact, we selected you to be an all-star. But there's another kid on this team. There's another young man on this team who needs to be an all-star more important than you." And I knew his story. You see, the previous year, his father had been the manager of the team. And his father had a drinking problem and an anger problem. So the league eliminated him. And so this young man was in a bad situation at home. His parents were divorcing. He was in a bad place. But that baseball team, his friends, it was salvation of his life at that time. So Mr. Becker and my dad said, Tone, you're an all-star. But he needs support more than you do. We know you understand. You understand what we're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I was 12 years old. I didn't understand it at all. I didn't understand. In my heart, God was telling me, you don't need this, Tony. You need it. But I was 12. I wanted it. So, he made the all-star team and I didn't. And I felt bad about that. But I moved on. When we got to high school, I played freshman, junior varsity, varsity baseball. I was an acting student. This young man who I had given that gift to, well, his parents broke up. His family dissolved. He ended up homeless. His sophomore year, he disappeared. He never saw him again. In my heart, I always wondered about him. My life went on, and my junior year, I ended up being a captain of the baseball team. How tall am I? How tall? 5'6". I don't throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. I don't hit balls 400 feet. But my teammates selected me as captain. It was so awesome. So the next year, as a senior, I said, guys, I want to give back to you. I want to give you something. What can I do? And they said, Tony, we want you to run for student body president. I said, really? I don't want to be student body president. I want to be head cheerleader. And they go, head cheerleader, Tom? I go, yeah, it's like me and 14 girls. That's not bad. But what I wanted to do more than anything else was to solidify my school. I wanted to bring them together. I wanted to have my school be one. I wanted them to set the bar so that every generation after me would come and be a longhorn of lost era. That's what I wanted. And so I also found out how tough it is to get 14 girls all read the same thing at one time. That's tough. So I got to ask you all, just to give you an idea of what kind of a cheerleader I was. You're the Lions, is that right? So if I were to say to you, Lion Pride, could you say back to me with your hands raised high like this? Brace yourself. Could you do that? Lion Pride! Oh, come on. I got up early this morning. I came all the way from Carmichael. I want to hear it as well. Lion Pride! One more time, get your hands up high. Lion Pride! You know what? We're not bragging. We're not trash talking somebody else. We're not saying we're better than you. What we're saying is a pride. Pride is a family, isn't it? Is that right? We're one family. One voice. One heartbeat. So my dad came to me. My dad's a construction worker. My dad grew up during the Depression. My dad fought in World War II. He came to me in my senior year. I'm still a captain of baseball. He's good. But he goes, oh, I couldn't explain to him that I wanted to give back to the school with my friends. He wouldn't understand that. So I didn't say anything. Years went by, and eventually I became the vice president of the Sacramento River Cats. And 2 years into it, I get a call from the White House. Someone who represented the President of the United States called me to ask me to put on a rally in Stockton for the President of the United States. So I went down to this clubhouse and I got some ball players. I got Bob Guerin, who was actually last night, he's with the Mets now, but at the time he was our coach. I got a bunch of the rally cats. I got the hot dog can. You know what the hot dog cannon is? Right? Shoots hot dogs into the stands where people in $500 suits fight to get those hot dogs that were wrapped 4 hours before the game even started, right? I wouldn't touch one of those dogs, let alone eat one, right? So we go down to Stockton, Memorial Auditorium, 3,500 people. I am shooting hot dogs and t-shirts into the stand. People are going nuts. We got that place rocking and rolling. And then they take us all and they put us down in the hall. And in comes the President of the United States. And he speaks. And after he's done, he comes by and he shakes the hand of every one of those ball players. And he stopped and talked to me for 2-3 minutes. And he said, Tony, I specifically asked that you do this rally here in Stockton. So the ball players all get their phones out to call their wives. Tell them, I just met the President of the United States. And I go, God, I told you we were going to meet the President. And they went, you tell us not to. So I got my cell phone out to call my father to tell him why I was in jail back in high school. You see, the decisions that you make right now, right here, stay with you the rest of your life. As a 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old man and woman, choose those decisions wisely. You remember when I started to tell you this story about me as a 12-year-old getting an opportunity to be an all-star, giving that gift because my father, because my man came to me, this boy needs it more than you. Do you remember that story? I want to follow through with that. I got an opportunity to go to school, be successful. I got a chance to go to college, be the first in my family to do that. Walked on at Sac State. For a year I played for them. And the war was on, and I had to give up the game. I lost it. The amount of talent that I had wasn't good enough to be able to balance going to school, playing ball, and all of those kinds of things. So I kind of gave it up. But I didn't give up the dream. I met this incredible woman, my wife Nancy. She and I have been married now for 43 years. Thank you very much. 5 incredible children. I went on to work at the Northeast YMCA, put on caravans. I would take groups of teenagers like yourselves, 50 of you, 25 guys, 25 girls, in a huge bus with a chuck wagon on the back. We went all over the United States, Northwest, down to Mexico. Incredible experience. And I left the YMCA and I went to work for the San Juan Unified School District. And I was a community schools director. And at that time, I left that, eventually, to own my own business. And at the time I had my business, right around close to 30, 31 years old, our oldest daughter, our oldest son, and our daughter Lisa, who was 18 months old. And I'll never forget the day, in April, when I got a call at work. You see, the day before, Lisa, that 18-month-old, love of my life, all 3 of those children. Incredible gift from God. She was sick. She wasn't feeling good. She had a little cold. She just stayed in my arms the whole day. She would not come out of my lap. That night, when we went to bed, she fussed, got into our bed. She just comes up next to me the whole evening. When we woke up that morning, I left her there. I got ready for work and took off for work. At about 10 o'clock, I got a phone call. It was as though somebody dropped a hammer on me. Lisa had been hit by a car right in front of our house. She was at the hospital that I needed to get to the hospital as soon as I could. I never drove so fast in my life. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. I was willing to give anything that I had to make sure that she would be okay. I mean, the one thing I knew about my daughter, our daughter, was that if anybody could survive it, she could. When I walked into that hospital in American River, the doctor came to me and told me that Lisa had passed. And it was as though someone had taken an axe and hit me right in the stomach. I fell to the ground. The hardest part of that, sitting down with our oldest daughter and son, who were 5 and 3 years old, explaining to them their sister had gone to be with Jesus. I kind of wandered around 2 days. 2 days. Kind of a fog. Trying to figure it out. Why? But in my heart, I could hear our Lord telling me, it's going to be okay. As I was out in front of my house, the firemen who came that day to help Lisa, to be with my wife, to help my family, who I had never met, came down that street with flowers for my wife and family. And the chief of that fire crew was my teammate, Little Lee. He needed to be the all-star, who somehow survived his family breaking up, somehow survived being homeless, somehow found a way to become a fireman, to be stationed not more than a mile from my home for all those years, and I never knew. And when I could not be there for my child, my friends, I had given him a gift at 12 years old. Gifted to me. All those years later, gave a gift to me. My family. I saw him. I hadn't seen him in over 20 years. And I could not believe it. And I thanked him so much. He and I are still friends. And we were given 2 more gifts from the Lord. A son Joseph and a daughter Lisa. As I sit here and I look at all of the potential of each and every person, I look in your eyes and I see the energy and I see the joy that you have, and you think as I did, as every parent here, as every person here thinks, oh, things will happen to somebody else, but they won't happen to me. It's you happen to us. Be prepared for it. Allow Jesus in your heart so that he can help you in that path. Truly believe in one another. Lion pride! Come on! Lion pride! Lion pride! One family, one voice, one heartbeat. Is that right? Yeah. Last thing I want to share with you. Story of my youngest son, Joe. Joe's an awesome guy. Joseph started out when he was growing up. He was a heck of an athlete, really well coordinated, smart kid, big. I told you, he ended up 6'4", 250 pounds, right? He would have been a stud here at this school, I'm telling you. And Joe has a love of life. He has more fun with life than any other human being that I've ever been around. The other day I sent him a text, and he started going off on a movie called Trading Places, and he was putting down all of the lines from Trading Places. Or the other day, I was talking to him about golf, and boom, he gives me all the lines from Caddyshack. This guy just loves life, and he loves people, and people love him. And he's so big, he's just a great kid. So, senior year, Joe played guard on the football team. He played first base on the baseball team over at Rio Americana High School. He comes to me, he's 18 years old. 18 years old, he comes to me in the spring, he's out on the baseball team. They're doing well. He says, Dad, I want to go out with a bunch of my buddies in the car Saturday night. Would that be okay? Man, I wanted to say, no, that's not a good idea, right? But he's 18 years old. He didn't even need to come to me. He never had to say a word. I would have never known he went out with his buddies riding around in Carmichael late on a Saturday night. Never would have known it. But he came to me. So instead of saying no, I said, make good choices, Joe. I said, I will, Dad. I promise you. He says, I love you, Dad. I said, Joe, I love you. Make good choices. So that night they go out there and they're driving around. All of a sudden, one of the guys in the car, he opens up a flask. Got a little alcohol in it. Starts to pass it around. Joe goes, sorry guys. No, not for me. What's the matter, Joe? Yeah, just not for me. Okay, guys? All right. So then they start passing something around, smoking something, you know? Okay. Joe goes, not for me, guys. Not for me. So the guy driving the car, Anthony, he says, hey, guys, let's go over into this elementary school here and start burning up the grass. Joe goes, whoa, I don't think that's a good idea. So they look at him and they go, what's the matter, Joe? You chicken? Joe goes, hey, you guys are my friends. Before you did that tonight, you're going to be my friends forever. I just don't think this is a good idea. Why don't you stop this car? So they stop the car and he gets out. Two of the guys in the back seat that are laughing at him, they get out with him. So he calls me on my cell phone at 11 o'clock at night. I look on the cell phone and up comes Joe. Whoa, jeez. Joe, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine, Dad. Joe, what'd you do now? I said, Dad, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I'm on a corner of Garfield and Walnut. Will you come pick me up? So I'll be there in a second, Joe. Jumped in my truck, went over there to pick up those three boys. We got double Western bacon cheeseburgers. We got fries and a big drink each. I paid. Those three other guys in the car, they took it out on that elementary school field and they tore up the grass. They hit a sprinkler. They got a flat tire. And the highway patrol came by and arrested them. They had to call the parents at 2 o'clock in the morning to come pick them up. They had to do 30 days community service. They had to repair that school. They got kicked off the baseball team. They were not allowed to graduate on stage. Not bad kids. They made a bad choice. They made a bad choice. So the point of the story is, Joe is not a saint. I am not a saint. We make mistakes. But in that case, he chose to do the right thing. And I was so proud of him for doing that. He continues to make good choices, and he balances out some bad choices occasionally. But that's life. Is life perfect? Are we perfect? But we can choose to do the right thing. Is that right? So with that, I got to ask you guys, does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to make a statement? Anybody? Yes, ma'am. stand up? That's what I say. Yes, give her a hand. Anybody? Huh? Come on. Come on, guys. I know there's a guy. There's a guy, right? Huh? Anybody? I'll give you a second. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. And I truly believe, as I can totally relate to what this young person is saying. My wife and I, after Lisa's passing, we would cry at night for hours, and she would ask me, "Why? Why?" And it was as though the Lord Himself was there to say, "You're going to be all right. You're going to be all right." You probably felt that same thing when all the fear of someone telling you that you had cancer, that terrible C word, you knew that you could defeat that. There was a good feeling inside you. I knew Lisa was in a place, and I have to tell you, Paul, her spirit, who she is with me every day. I may not be able to touch her. I may not be able to smell the smells. I may not be able to see her grow. Because in my mind, she will always be that side. She will always be that person. But she is with me each and every day. And whoever it is in your life who sacrificed to get you to where you are right now, they will be with you. So my challenge to you before I wrap this up is that at the end of this day is win the day. Can you say win the day? Win the day. Can you say win the day? Win the day. This day, Monday, is win the day Monday. Can you say win the day Monday? Win the day Monday. On this day, before this day is over, I want you to go to that person. Maybe mom or dad, it could be an uncle, it could be a friend, it could be somebody in your life who sacrificed to get you to where you are right now. Don't text them. Don't email them. Call them if they're far away from you. If you can't go up to them personally and say thank you, you can call them. But make sure that it's your words to thank them for what they've done to get you to where you are today. Don't ever forget the sacrifices that they've made. Because the day is going to come where you're asked to give sacrifice to help the next generation. So with that, clap your hands once. Clap your hands once. Lion pride. Praise yourself. Lion pride. Praise yourself. Repeat after me. There is greatness. There is greatness. All a little louder. There is greatness. There is greatness. Within me. Within me. I believe. Clap your hands once. I believe that at the end of this school year, you're going to see greatness in your classmates. You're going to see greatness in the team in which you participate. You're going to see greatness in yourself. Lion pride. Praise yourself. Thank you so much for your time, for your effort, for your attention, for your respect today. Thank you.